all of you. The only difference lies basically between the architectures and the environment where we are using it. So we are going to use the concepts remains the same as the pipelines concept we have discussed or what you know about earlier. Just rather than instead of using it in Synapse Analytics or using it in Azure Data Factory, we would be using the same concepts of pipeline within the Fabric environment. This is basically what we are going to discuss. So as we can see, the very first topic is pipelines in Microsoft Fabric. So as I said, that pipelines in Fabric is going to encapsulate a sequence of activities. It has got a sequence of activities like this. This is a sequence of activities which we have, and these activities which perform the data movement and the processing task, we can say. You can use these pipelines where you want to define the data transfer and the transformation activities. Like if you want that, you want to extract the data from a source and then you transform it along the way and then you load it to a destination. So that's kind of a data transfer activity, we can say. Or you may also use it for orchestrating these activities through some control flow, like which means branching or looping or any other typical processing logic which we can use. So in Microsoft Fabric, we get a graphical pipeline canvas. We can say this is a graphical pipeline canvas which we have. And this is a user interface which will help us to build any complex pipelines with very minimal or with no coding required, you can say. If you're not very familiar with any coding background or you're not an expert in basically creating the pipelines, you can do it easily in the Fabric's user interface because it's kind of we can say it's a low code to no code graphical canvas which you get. So this is where you can actually create the pipelines. So that's an overview about what the pipelines are. Proceeding ahead with what are the core pipeline concepts. There are some core pipeline concepts which we need to be aware about. So the very first concept is about the activities. What are activities? So we can say that activities are the building blocks of a pipeline. It's considered as a building block of a pipeline. Activities can perform actions like data transformation actions it can perform. So when I say data transformation, what I specifically mean is basically, you can use the Spark, you can use the notebooks, or you can use the data flows to clean, reshape, or enrich the data. That's kind of a data transformation activity. Also, you can perform control flow activity, which is where you manage the execution logic, such as if, switch, for each, wait, or fail activities you can manage to handle any dynamic execution path. So this is basically the pipelines concept, the very first concept we can say, or we can say the activities are the building blocks of a pipeline itself. So we can define a flow of activities by connecting them, like how you can see it is connected over here. So we can define a flow of activities by connecting them in a sequence and the outcome of a particular activity. So every activity has got three particular outcome. Like success is one of the outcome, failure is another outcome, and completion is another outcome. So these three outcomes are there. So we can use the outcome of a particular activity to redirect the flow to the next activity in a sequence like this. I have redirected it to the next activity. So this was an overview about what the first core concept of a pipeline, which is the activity, is all about. The second core concept which we have is parameters. What is parameters? Let's get an overview about it. Parameters basically enable the reusability and flexibility of pipelines. What parameter supports is basically the reusability and the flexibility of the pipelines. We can define parameters which are passed at the runtime. So you can control the source or the target dataset names using it. You can go for dynamic file paths or filters with it, or any execution conditions for the activities if you want to go through. So for all these things, we can define the parameters which could be passed at the runtime to control all these things we can say. So like for example, you might want to use a pipeline, like you want to save a ingested data in a folder. So might want to use a pipeline for this purpose, but you should have the flexibility that you can specify a folder name each time the pipeline is run. So those kind of things you can achieve with the help of the parameters. It's kind of going to increase the reusability of our pipelines, we can say. It will enable us to create a flexible data ingestion and a transformation process. Third that we have is the pipeline runs, which means that each time a pipeline is executed, a data pipeline run is initiated. Runs can be initiated on demand, like if you want it to be initiated right now, you can do it. It is on demand in the Fabric. And basically, you can also schedule it to start at a specific frequency. Like if you want that this particular pipeline should execute daily at 5 a.m. So you can schedule it also that way. We can use the unique run ID to review the run details to confirm if they have completed successfully, or if you want to suppose investigate what is the specific settings which is used for each execution. So for all those purposes, we need the unique run ID using which we can review all these details, we can say. So this is basically the core concepts of pipeline that we discussed. These are the 3 core concepts which we have. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about how we can run and how we can monitor the pipelines. Like if you want to run the pipeline, if you want to monitor the pipeline, how you can do that. Also, we have some pipeline templates within the Fabric environment. These pipeline templates means it's a combination of activities, we can say, from which you can choose. So some pre-created templates are also provided within the Fabric environment. Those things I'll show you when I'm doing a demo. I'll show you what are the pipeline templates and everything which is present. Coming to how we can run and monitor the pipelines. So when you have completed a pipeline, you get multiple options. What you can do is you can actually validate it. You have the option to validate it, which means you can check that the configuration is valid or no. And then you can either run it interactively or you can specify a schedule for it. This is basically one of the things which you can do. Validation is just like testing the connections. If what connection you have made, is it correct or no? You have to test the connection. That is kind of a validation which you make. Other than that, you can basically run the pipeline. This is a run option. If you click on this run option, it will make sure that this pipeline executes right now. That's a run which we have. Then we have a schedule option, as I said. Why do we use the schedule option? Like if you want this particular pipeline should be executed daily at 5 a.m. So that's how you schedule it. So this schedule option also you get from here. You can click on it. Then we have another option which is view run history. What is the use of it? I'll tell you. So basically, we can use this view run history for a pipeline. Like if you want to see the details of each run, you want to see the details of each run like this. Either from the pipeline canvas, you can use it, or from the pipeline items, which is listed in the page for the workspace, you can view the run history for that pipeline. So this option also you get where you can run and monitor the pipelines, we can say. So this is basically what we discussed about the pipelines part. So let me go and quickly show you a demo for the same about how you can perform these things within the Fabric environment. So I'm going to share my screen again and let's get started with it. So this is basically the Fabric environment which I have. I have already logged into my Fabric environment. So what am I going to do is I am going to create a pipeline and show you how I can create this pipeline and how we can basically make the connections. That is what I'm going to show you. So over here, the very first thing which we need to do is we have to create a workspace. So I click on new workspace. I give it a name as demo workspace. This is a name I have given, and in the advanced section, I just make sure that I have selected the trial version for this workspace. Otherwise, I won't be getting the Fabric enabled capacity. That is the reason I ensure that I have selected the trial version for this. So after creating this workspace, what I can do, I can go and create a Lakehouse. So I click a new item over here. And I look for Lakehouse. Either I can search over here, or if I just scroll down, I use it for storing the data. So I will be able to find it in the store data category. I give it a name as demo Lakehouse. This is a name I have given, and I say create. So what this will do is it will create a demo Lakehouse for me. Inside the Lakehouse, I have tables, I have files. Nothing I'm going to do. I'll just create a subfolder. I give this subfolder name as new underscore data, where we can store the data basically. Now over here, I do not have any data within the Lakehouse right now. So I need to get the data. I have to ingest the data into my Lakehouse. This is what my requirement is. So one of the very simplest ways in which we can ingest the data is using the copy data activity which we have within a pipeline. So what does it support? We can extract the data from a source and we can copy it into a file in the Lakehouse. So this is where I can copy that data. I will be ingesting the data from some source and I will be moving that data or copying that data into my Lakehouse file folder. Okay, this is my new data subfolder which I have. So how to create a pipeline? I have an option of get data over here. If I click on this get data, I get an option of new data pipeline. I click on this new data pipeline. I give this pipeline a name as ingest new sales data. You can give any name of your choice. This is a name I have given. Ingest new sales data. So as soon as I click on this create, it will open the copy data wizard for me. What is this copy data wizard? It's basically a easy to create pipeline. It's a kind of easy to use wizard, which will provide you with some of the pre-configurations and some of the options through which you have to navigate for performing the copy data activity. So that is what basically the copy data wizard or the tool is all about. This is that copy data tool. Suppose I want to get the data from online. Okay, online in the sense I will be searching for HTTP over here. So if my connection is HTTPS connection which I'm making, I will click over here the HTTP. I have to actually provide the URL for this. So from where I want to get the data, I have to just provide the URL for it. So just give me a moment. I will just copy the URL and share it and just paste it over here. So just 1 second I need. So what I'll be doing is I'll be just copying the URL which is there from the online. Basically, all these are the GitHub URLs which we are using. So I'm just copying that URL from here and I paste it over here. Okay, this is the URL. In the connection credentials, it has automatically created the same credential. I can create a new connection over here. So I have to give this connection a name. So I give it a name as demo connection. This is a name I am giving. And after that, the connection name I have specified as a unique name, and connection you can see I have already selected as create new connection. Data gateway none, authentication kind remains anonymous. All these things are good to go. And then I will click on this next over here. So now it has connected to my data source. This is my connection's name. Base URL is provided. Relative URL, nothing we have to provide. Request method is by default get. So we go with get. Nothing else we have to make changes over here. All default settings, and then we proceed to the next tab. So when I click on next, this is where basically we can wait for the data which needs to be sampled. And we just have to ensure that the settings are okay. That's it. So if you want to have a preview of the data, you can have it from here. You will get to know what type of data you are dealing with. So just one change I'm going to make is with the row delimiter. I am not going to use the default. I'm going to use the line feed, which is the \n over here. This is the row delimiter which I'm using. After this, I can just click on this preview data. You can see what is the data which you're going to ingest. It will show you a subset of data in the preview. Okay, this is a preview of the data. Once you're okay with the preview, just close it and you will come back to this particular page. After doing this much, no other changes I have to make. So I will click on this next over here. So this is where we have to make the configuration for the data's destination. Now I have to do the destination page settings. So in the destination, my connection is going to be demo Lakehouse, which I created. That is correct. What is the root folder? I want the root folders to be files, not tables. I don't want my data to be in the tables. I want it to be in the files. So I choose files over here. What is the folder path? I have already created a folder, which is my new data folder. I want that data should go inside that new data folder. This is how I do it. I have to provide a file name. So I say sales.csv is the file name like this. Copy behavior is none, nothing I'm selecting, and I click on the next over here. So when I click on next, it will ask me to connect to the data destination. I have to provide basically the file format options, those things. That's it. So again, the row delimiter, I will change to line feed n. Nothing else I'm changing. Rest everything is the default settings which we are using. Then I click on the next. So this is the summary page. You can just review all the details of your copy operation. And once you are okay with all the things, you can click on the save plus run over here. So as soon as I click on the save plus run, it is going to create a new pipeline containing a copy data activity for me. Like this, this is a copy data activity and a new pipeline has been created for me. This is a pipeline. So the pipeline status is there. This is the pipeline's unique run ID. As I said, this is the run ID which you can use. You can copy this. You can basically, whatever is happening to the pipeline, you will be able to basically preview it over here. Like whatever information you want to know about the pipeline, you can monitor the pipeline's run status from this output pane. This is the output pane from where you can monitor the run status. If you want to refresh this is the option to refresh. You can see that my pipeline status says succeeded right now. So once it is succeeded, what I can do is I can simply go back to my Lakehouse. Why? Because I want to check if the data has been copied or no. That's the reason. So I'm going to first refresh this new data subfolder which I created, and then I click on this new data. So here I am able to see the sales.csv file which is there. So this is basically how we can use the pipeline to ingest the data. Now, if you want to suppose create a notebook out of this, you can do that. Simply click on this open notebook, go with a new notebook. So let it open. This will open up with a single cell. Notebooks, we know that it contains multiple code cells or markdown cells, which is there. So this is a cell which we have. And what am I going to do is I'm just going to type something over here. Table underscore name is equal to, sorry. I give the table a name as sales. This is a name which I have given to the table. What is this table name? I'm going to change this into a parameter cell, which means right now this is a simple code cell. Now what I want is I want to change this to a parameter cell. How to do that? Click on this 3 dots and you will see the option of toggle parameter cell. As soon as I do it, you can see it becomes the parameters over here. So this is going to configure the cell so that the variable which I have declared in it are treated as parameters when it runs the notebook from a pipeline. For that purpose, I have done this. After doing this, I am going to put some other code. This code, basically, I'll guide you what is the use of this code. Let me just paste that code over here and show you. So this code is actually going to load the data from the CSV sales.csv file, which I have ingested with the help of the copy data activity. Right now in my Lakehouse, I have ingested my data with the help of the copy data activity, and that is the sales.csv file which I have ingested. So what am I going to do is I am going to load that data from the sales.csv file, and I will be applying some transformation logic. All these are the transformation logics which I have applied. And then I am going to save the transform data as table. So here I am going to save the transform data as table in the last line of the code. So which means it will append the data if the table already exists. So this is basically what we are going to do. So I am going to run all the commands one by one. So we can see this will take a time for the session to start first, and after that the first cell will execute and then the second cell will execute. So this is how we can run all the cells in the notebook in one go. So now this particular cell has executed. Let's wait for this particular cell also to execute. So Spark job, 13 seconds, 14 seconds, it's running still, and we will see a tick mark saying it has succeeded, and then we can proceed further over here. It's already, I have created one and kept it ready for the demo, but let me just check how much time it is taking. If it is fast, then I can proceed further in the same. Okay, so this command has been executed now. Now what we can do is, on the left hand side, this is a lake house which I can see. This is my Explorer. I have this lake house which I created. I am going to just refresh this lake house. Okay, because I want to quickly check if the tables is reflecting or no. I go and expand it. I go and expand the tables and I can see the sales table being created. This is the same name, sales table. For the variable, what name I provided, that same name table has been created over here. Now, if you want to change the notebook's name, you can do it from here. Click on over here and you can provide any name of your choice, and you can, like I am saying, load sales is what I'm giving. Any name of your choice you can do. After doing this much, you can click on the demo Lakehouse. Why? Because if we want to see the tables in the Lakehouse, for that purpose, I come to the tables, I click on the sales table, and it will show me a preview of the data which it contains. This is basically how we can work with the pipeline, using the pipeline, how we can ingest the data into the Lakehouse. That is what it actually means. So this is a subset of the data which we have. Now further, if you want to modify the pipeline by adding multiple different activities, you can do that also. You can basically add a delete activity, then you can have a copy data activity, and then a notebook activity can get executed. So all these things it will support basically. So let me go ahead. This was all about this short demo, and let me come back to let me share screen with the PPT which